Now we get to actually my favorite part of the lecture series, which is relationships. I think relationships are absolutely fascinating, and I think the relationships that we form online and how gamers connect to other people through the internet is just an absolutely fascinating topic. So just to give you guys a little bit of information, I started playing StarCraft with this guy when I was 15 years old, and then like over the next 10 years of our life, we were like gaming together. Never met the dude. And then when I ended up getting married, I actually invited him to my wedding, which all of my like my bosses and professors and stuff, when I tell them that, they're stunned. But I think you guys will understand what I mean, because like the relationships that we form through online gaming can actually be really authentic. And I'd really like to start there, talking a little bit about the authenticity of online friendship. So one of the things that's really interesting about when you meet someone online is that the internet really blinds people to all the kinds of things that we tend to judge people for. So when you talk to someone on the internet, you don't know if they're black or they're white or they're Indian or Hispanic or Asian or any of that. Well, maybe you do depending on their name or their voice or their accent. But generally speaking, the internet is blind. You don't know if that person is rich or they're poor. You don't know if they're attractive or unattractive. You really don't know anything about them. And if you think about the real world is incredibly judgmental. And if I walk into a room and I have this fleece which has like the Harvard logo on it, I get treated differently. People give me respect that I don't actually deserve just because of the institution that I'm affiliated with. That says nothing about me. I mean, like, even so, for example, my sister-in-law, I gave her one of these fleeces for like just to wear because I had an extra one. And so she walks around and she kind of wears this fleece, and people think she's affiliated with Harvard Medical School, which she's not. But so people just judge other people based on all kinds of kind of shallow criteria, right? If you're a pretty girl or a good-looking guy, you're more likely to get better service at a restaurant. And so the real world can actually be incredibly racist and shallow and unfair, whereas when you meet someone online, they're going to go tell you to go fuck yourself because of who you are, not because of the color of your skin, right? They tell you that they want to fuck your mom because of who you are, and it's not blinded by race or ethnicity or gender or anything like that. Actually, gender's an interesting exception, because a lot of times gender does create a lot of really bizarre and sometimes toxic mechanics online. So I'll steer a little bit clear of that. So the interesting thing about relationships over the internet is people sort of see you for who you are. They judge their friendship of you based on what you say and how you act and how you play the game. And so in a sense, you're judged on a more authentic level than based on the color of your skin or how attractive you are or what kind of car you drive, because none of that matters on the internet. So the internet is amazingly, kind of like they say, justice is blind. The internet is blind. And people tend to get valued for who they are instead of some attribute of their birth or their parents. And so I think that's really powerful. And I think that's one of the things that I like the most about relationships that form on the internet, is they feel more authentic to me. The other interesting thing about relationships that are formed on the internet is that they tend to be, in a lot of senses, stronger than the relationships that you form in real life. And that has something to do with, that has everything to do with just simple things like geography. So I'll give you guys an example. When I was in high school, I had a particular set of friends, and I'm sure you guys are, whether you're in high school or college or working or whatever, you have your group of friends, right? And then if you think about it, like when I left my small town in East Texas and went to the University of Texas at Austin, I sort of left my friends behind. Some of my friends came with me, and then I made a new group of friends. I sort of stayed in touch with some people from high school, but I had this kind of new set of friends, and I thought that those guys were going to be like the best friends from my life. I joined a fraternity. It was awesome. I had a fantastic time. And then after I finished college, I actually moved to Boston, where I ended up as a research assistant. And so I sort of left all my friends from Texas behind, and then went up to Boston and made a new set of friends. And then I ended up leaving that job and going to medical school. And so I made a new set of friends in medical school, and then I left medical school and went to residency and made a new set of friends when I was training to become a psychiatrist. And so at the end of the road, when I'm making friends with people who are also going to be psychiatrists, I've gotten so far away from the people that I hung out with in high school that those relationships have basically ended. The interesting thing is that the friends that I made online through gaming were the friends that I took with me at each step of the way. So even after I left high school, I still was playing StarCraft with the same group of people, and then we started playing WoW together, and then we started playing FF14, and then we started playing Dota and LoL and other MOBAs, and like now we play some Overwatch. But those same set of people are the people that I've been hanging out with on Friday nights for the last decade of my life. And so those are the people that I actually feel the closest to. And that's why it's so crazy when you think a little bit about inviting this guy to my wedding who I've never met before. It's because he was there when I started dating my wife. Like I distinctly remember, we've been playing games for like 6 years together now. And, I disappear for a month or two, and then I log on one day and he's like, dude, where the fuck have you been? Like, you haven't been online for 2 months. And I was like, hey man, I met a girl. And so like, he gave me shit about it. And then he was kind of there before my relationship started. He was there when my relationship started. I remember talking to him about my wife and like sort of, thinking that it wasn't going to last and it wouldn't work out because I was a junior and she was a freshman and all this kind of stuff. And so he was kind of there as I decided to move to Boston, and then she decided to move to New York, and then when she moved in with me. So he was kind of there at the start of my relationship, before my relationship, and as my relationship had grown and progressed, he was kind of aware of the whole thing. And so he was actually a really true and authentic friend of mine. And so I think that we have to start off by understanding that gaming isn't all bad. That gaming actually offers us a lot of things that are really positive and really powerful in our life. Not just in terms of coping mechanisms, but that it's amazing that there's this part of the world where you can go and not be judged for how rich or poor you are, not be judged for the color of your skin, and that you can form authentic connections with people that will stay with you no matter where you go in the world. And so I think that's really powerful. And the first thing that we have to understand about relationships in gaming is that there are very real relationships that are formed through gaming. And that those relationships can be authentic and important and actually be a big part of your life. And so I think it's just important for us to stop and acknowledge that for a second. And I think later on we'll get a little bit into how gaming negatively impacts your relationships and whether gaming sort of keeps you from forming friendships in the real world because you have this set of really authentic friends that you spend every weekend with. And that can be part of the problem, but I think we have to first understand that gaming offers us something, and unless we know what functions it serves for us, we're never going to get control over it. And so the way that we start with relationships is simply by acknowledging that the relationships we form through gaming are blind and actually not based on and are permanent.